episode of Physio Nextdoor podcast. My name is Jennifer Chukwu and I am your host. On today's episode of Physio Nextdoor podcast, as usual, we have something special we're going to be considering. I will be looking at the topic nutrition and physiotherapy, a synergistic relationship. Yeah, as usual, we have a special guest who will be doing justice to our topic. Just before I unveil or reveal our special guest to us, I'm just going to be telling us a little about her. So yes, our special guest is Miss Nneoma Eya. She's a graduate of the prestigious University of Nigeria, Nsukka, UNN, where she obtained a BSc in Nutrition and Dietetics. She currently works as a nutritionist dietitian in a physiotherapy clinic where she provides nutrition counseling and care to clients who have different nutritional needs to help them live a healthy life free from diseases. Now join me as I delightfully and honorably welcome my special guest. Drum rolls! Welcome.
Thank you so much, Miss Jennifer, my amiable host. Thank you so much for having me in this space. It feels great and good to be here. I'm honored.
Thank you so much for honoring our invitation.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your presence here in the studio for Physio Nextdoor podcast. So just before we head right into what we want to talk about, it's an important topic because food nutrition is something that is a part of our lives. So I just remember back then when we were in primary school, when we had to consider food and nutrition as one of the topics. So it just lets me know, or it just informs me that this topic is important, being that it's something we had to consider at that foundational level of our lives.
Yes.
So, but then today we're not going to be looking at it in such wide scope. We're going to be streamlining it to our physical health and wellness. So before we consider the synergy between both of them, just let us know what nutrition is.
Okay, so nutrition involves all the processes involved in nutrient intake, absorption, metabolism, and utilization. In other words, it has to do with the processes by which the body utilizes food for energy, growth, and maintenance.
Okay. Could that be the reason they taught us that in our primary school? Because I know the energy we had was not here. Well, so looking at what you said, energy,
growth and maintenance.
Oh, that's amazing. So I want to know, are those the only importance or benefits of nutrition? If not, please, we want to know more.
Of course, it's not just limited. The importance of nutrition is not just limited to growth, maintenance, and energy. There are other benefits of nutrition, even though when we say it, it's just like a summary, but it's not limited to those three. There are so many other importance. As a matter of fact, the importance of nutrition, the importance of good nutrition can never be overemphasized. For instance, in terms of, let's narrow it down to our physical therapy. For instance, I have worked in a physiotherapy clinic for a while now, and then the kind of cases we tend to see in physiotherapy, where it has to do with the muscles and the bones and all of that, you find out that most of these clients who come into the clinic have these issues. They come down with this pains as a result of their weight and so many other nutrition related conditions per se. So the importance of nutrition in physical therapy, we can also include weight management, because nutrition is very important. As a matter of, it plays a key role, if not the major role, in weight management. So, and it also helps in physical activity. It also helps to think that I don't know whether to say it will shock you, but then it wouldn't shock you. But it's also important to know that nutrition plays a key role in our mental health as well, our cognition, Nutrition plays a very important role in all those areas. So when we talk about nutrition and physiotherapy, there are so many clients who have walked into the clinic. Some have stroke. Some have stroke. Some have osteoarthritis. That's the one that has to do with the knee and all of that. So nutrition helps in managing all these cases. Say for instance, when when you're managing a patient with osteoarthritis, most of these cases, they come down with these conditions because of their weight. As a matter of fact, 90% of clients who come into the clinic with a complaint of osteoarthritis, they are all overweight. So it is important that people take their nutrition on a different level. Is as important as life. Let me just put it that way.
Amazing. So from your biography, you've been offering or providing nutrition counseling and care to clients in physiotherapy clinic. I want us to have a case study.
Okay.
Let's just go back to the osteoarthritis you talked about.
Okay.
So in a situation where we have I want us, maybe we're going to be designing a meal plan here, something. But just for a day, right? Can you just give us maybe samples of the food that an osteoarthritis patient should take to help in managing the condition?
Okay, first and foremost, before we prescribe food to clients, there are so many things that has to be taken into consideration. There's what we call body mass index, BMI, and that's what will help you determine the class and the level of overweight or the level of the client's weight and all of that, where we'll have a BMI of less than 18.5 means you are underweight. That's also, you see, when people talk about poor nutrition, we think it's just overweight, but there are so many other factors under malnutrition. Malnutrition is not necessarily being overweight. Undernutrition is also part of malnutrition. So we have BMI less than 18.5 to be underweight. That's where you tend to see osteoporosis, weak bones, and all of that. And then we'll have BMI 18.5 to 24.9. That's a normal person. Then we'll have BMI 25.0 to 29.9 as overweight. Then we'll have BMI of 30 to 34.9 as class 1 obesity. As a matter, once your BMI is above 25, you are overweight. But then how do we calculate this BMI? When we say all those things, it's just to help you keep your weight in check and all of that. So when we talk about BMI, how do you calculate all this? BMI is calculated simply by getting your weight. You check your weight and then your height in meters. Your weight over your height in square. That's W weight and your height in meters square. So when you calculate this, you get the client's BMI classification. And then when you get this client's BMI classification, for every certain height, there is a weight every individual is supposed to have. So you see, weight and height, they are very important in planning all these meals. I'm just giving you an instance. Say like for a client whose height is like 169 centimeter, ideally the person is meant to be weighing 69 kg. So just like that. And there are so many other things you have to put into consideration before planning meals for these people. Like, you don't just go ahead and plan meals for people. So when you get the person's ideal weight, what the person is supposed to be weighing, you also compare it with the person's lifestyle. They have sedentary lifestyle, they have moderate lifestyle, they have highly active, they have active lifestyle. There are people who live a sedentary lifestyle. It can be as a result of their job. Take for instance, people that don't go out in the morning, they are just in the house, they don't do anything. Those ones.
Why is my mind coming to introverts?
But introverts have work, so you would.
Right, that's true.
Straight bullet just hit introverts. But then introverts, they have introverts that work. They have introverts that are highly active. They are highly physically active. So you check the person's lifestyle, because someone who is physically active, say for instance laborers, someone who is always very, very active, that does strenuous work and all of that, you cannot give the person the same meal that you are giving somebody that is sedentarily active. Let me put it that way, for someone that lives a sedentary lifestyle. So you also have to put into consideration the person's lifestyle before you plan this meal for the person. So depending on the person's weight and BMI, like we discussed earlier, that's now what will help you in planning this client's meal and all of that. Say for instance, if someone is overweight, and after checking all these things, after doing all the calculations and putting every other steps, all the necessary things in check, you can now say, okay, after doing your calculations though, you might place the client or the patient on a daily calorie intake or allowance of 1,600. That's 1,600 kilocalories a day. Then in the morning, the person can have 1 medium wrap of moi moi, 1 boiled egg with 2 cups of steamed vegetable. And then for lunch, you could eat like 3 medium-sized sweet potatoes with your steamed vegetables and your fish or meat. Say like 2 pieces of fish or meat. And then for dinner, you can have 1 cup of pasta with your steamed vegetable and your fish or meat. So that's just like what it should look like.
Okay, like a sample, right?
Yes, just like a sample.
Amazing. I look at it as this will require a lot of discipline on the part of the patient. You talked about some things that need to be checked before this meal plan is prepared.
Yes.
So this means that a patient shouldn't just go online to just check, okay, I need to prepare a meal plan for myself for this. The patient, it's important that the patient consults, a nutritionist.
Yes, a dietitian, precisely. So in the world we live today, it's so amazing how everybody has turned nutritionists and dietitians overnight. I mean, you guys should calm down. So when you go online, you see, they say a lot of things about the information we get on social media. We could get informations that will be very helpful. I mean, people do researches.
Yeah.
And before they can even publish all these things and say that it is generally accepted, a lot of researches, a lot of background work really goes on. So, but it's now knowing the kind of information that we consume online. You tend to see a whole lot of things on the internet today. You will not even know which one you should go for and which one you should not go for. So I don't advise that people just go online, go and borrow any meal plan they see online and then work with it. Please consult your dietitian. It's very necessary and important.
Very, very important, because there is a lot out there. Social media is
a whole lot.
I remember being on my way to work one day, and this man and the other person in front, because they knew each other, they were discussing, and the man was sharing some of the tips that the woman implements in her kitchen, some cooking tips she implements in her kitchen.
Okay.
And some were not just sounding like they were healthy to me. So somehow, because they were saying something like, women and stuff, they were now laughing. I think they now turned to me. I was the only one left in the vehicle. I said, sorry, make you not be say maybe with a yab woman or something. So I was like, it's fine. I just said, she should just, do more research, because there's a lot out there. So just do more research. It's not everything on social media you have to
and do. It's not even advisable that you do the researches on your own. Right. It's always important to talk to the experts. Yes, talk to the professionals so that they will guide you through the right path. So we don't go ahead making mistakes and that will affect us later in the future.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so now I know for some people they go on diet. Maybe they are certain food they just decide they won't be taking and that kind of thing. So first I want to ask, is that the same with having a meal plan prepared for you? That's one. Then secondly, is it advisable for someone who is undergoing physiotherapy treatment, maybe for any condition? Yeah.
Okay, so oftentimes this question that you just asked now makes me laugh.
Okay.
When I hear people say they are doing no carb diet, you know, when you say you're doing a no carb diet, I don't know what kind of food you want to be eating. Maybe you just want to be eating only meat, because to the best of my knowledge, it's only meat that does not contain carbohydrates. So when people say they are going on a no carb diet, how do you want to survive? For you to have energy to function, you need carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is not your enemy. All we just need is proper food portioning. You have to know how to eat your meal. You have to know. That's why it's important to see a dietitian, because you need to know the right quantity, the timing of your meals. So people say they don't eat carbohydrates, and then when you check their meals, they tell you that they eat only things like beans. And I'm like, wow. And whenever I hear this, my mind just goes back to a Bible verse that says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So please, all of you listening to me today, carbohydrate is not your enemy. It is not your enemy at all. All you just need is to prepare your food and to get the proper portioning and eat the right quantity. You just need moderation. To be honest, all you need is moderation. You have to eat everything in moderation. They say they don't eat carbohydrates. Excuse you, your vegetable contains carbohydrates as well. Your beans contains carbohydrates as well. So we just need to plan our meals properly. And when you go to see a dietitian, except you have critical cases, I mean, there are some conditions in extreme cases where you have certain issues, and then you will be restricted from eating certain kind of foods. But aside that, you don't just wake up one morning. I see this amongst people trying to lose weight. Most times I see it amongst people trying to lose weight a lot. Yes, because I have a relative. This story, I'm so sorry for bringing it out here, but I'm not going to mention name, of course. So she was overweight, and then she sought for solution to her problem online, because she was looking for a quick weight loss program. And then she went online and saw something about keto diet or something like that. If you abstain from all this, are you going to lose weight? Of course, you are going to lose weight, but it is not sustainable at the long run, because you tend to see these people that do no carb diets, they abstain from certain food nutrients and focus on some other nutrients. You see them, they lose weight actually, but when you see them, by mere looking at them, their physical appearance, you find out that they have shredded a lot of muscle and they look sick. That's why it's not advisable for you to abstain from certain foods. You just have to do everything in moderation and take your exercises seriously. When we talk about meal, people think that everything is all about dieting. Hello, you have to be serious with you have to be physically active. What causes people to be overweight is taking in more than you give out. Blessed is the hand that giveth than the one that taketh. So you have to give out. Overweight simply means taking in more nutrients more than you give out. You can exactly. So there should be a balance with your meal portioning, your meal timing, and your exercise. You have to take your exercises seriously. So when you meet your dietitian for a proper meal planning, they will put you through all this. There is this cup they use to measure foods.
Okay.
So to give you the accurate quantity that you're supposed to take. So it's not good to just rely on your own personal knowledge. You have to involve the dietitian, of course, the professionals in this field.
Okay. So, but for the measurement, definitely the patient has to be the one to get the
Of course, because you'll be doing this at the comfort of your home.
Okay.
So you have to get your own cup of measure that you will use to measure your cooked food before you eat. When they say you measure food, it's not that you go and measure they ask you to eat 1 cup of rice and then you go and measure 1 cup of raw rice and cook. Of course, if you cook 1 cup of raw rice, you're going to get like 2 cups of rice after cooking. So that's why it's just important to adhere to the advice and instructions of your dietitian.
Amazing. My mind didn't even go to the fact that the measurement is actually for the cooked.
Yes, please. The measurement is for the cooked food, not for the raw food. Because if you cook raw food, when it's done cooking, you will notice multiple changes. The food, of course, it will be more than what you actually, it will be more than the raw one.
Okay. So great. So we are going to be talking about maximizing nutrition for physiotherapy outcome. That's for someone who is undergoing physiotherapy. How does nutrition help to make their treatment improve or make it better? But before that, let me say something. So now we've looked at a patient. One of the conditions that a physiotherapist treats is stroke.
Yes.
Another one is osteoarthritis. Now, and we know that those two are in a way linked to nutrition because some of the factors that cause it are related to
nutrition.
Like we talked about the weight and diabetes for some stroke patients.
Yes.
Now, aside these two conditions, for someone who has low back pain that is caused by, say, poor posture, is there a way we can link that to the person's nutrition? Or okay,
there is just very little way you could link poor posture to nutrition.
Wow. Okay.
So let's say, for instance, I use this saying a whole lot: a hungry man is an angry man. And when you're very hungry and tired, you tend to be slouching and you will just not be okay. And if you are the kind of person that keeps yourself hungry at all times, it could actually affect you. Do you understand? With the way you carry out some activities, if you are always hungry, you cannot be agile, you cannot be firm, you cannot be physically smart and all of that. So it could actually affect, and that's why I said it's just a very little way, of course.
Wow. Oh my
because there are still people who eat healthy but then their posture is still a very big problem.
I never thought of that. That's amazing. Okay, now looking at it generally, let me go back to what I asked initially about maximizing nutrition for physiotherapy outcome. So is there a way you can tell us more on that? Okay,
so we've just been talking about weight management and all of that because we are trying to narrow it down to physical therapy and things related to physical therapy. So maximizing physiotherapy treatment and with nutrition, like you said.
Maximizing nutrition.
Okay, physiotherapy treatment. Okay, maximizing nutrition for physiotherapy treatment or outcome. Okay, so let's say someone that is being managed for osteoarthritis, and you find out that the reason why you came down with this condition is because of your weight. And just during the period of your treatment, you consulted a dietitian who told you how to live your life, how to be more physically active, and how to opt for proper and adequate nutrition, how to opt for proper foods and things related to nutrition. And then you only do this during the period of your treatment. You're not helping yourself. It's just like when we go to the pharmacy to get drugs, and especially malaria drugs, people don't finish when they get better. people don't continue with their treatment. I don't know why, but that's why it is a prescription. You have to keep up. Sometimes, most times, people don't see nutrition results immediately because these are things that has been piling up. Rome, they say, was not built in a day. So of course you did not just wake up one morning and find yourself overweight. It must have been far way long practices. These things must have accumulated over the years, say 3, 4, 5 years, and then all of a sudden you're now noticing the changes, and then you're going to look for lose weight quick therapy. You are going to look for exactly, you get where that is coming from. So you tend to look for shortcuts. Meanwhile, you didn't gain this weight via shortcut routes. So why do you want to lose it via shortcuts? You have to undergo the same process. So for you to maximize your for you to achieve a good result even after your physiotherapy treatment, we are still using knee osteoarthritis as an importance, given that most of these clients come down with these conditions as a result of their weight. So it is important for you to keep living healthy so that you don't go back to what brought you to where you are. You have to keep up with the exercise. Meanwhile, I know when we say exercise, it can be tiring, but along the line, you tend to see the importance of these things.
Okay, wow, that's amazing. So nutrition is important to maximize physiotherapy outcome.
Yes, just like you need proper good nutrition for your daily living, and for your daily living to carry out your daily activities, of course one has to be healthy to function well. And there is something people say oftentimes, that nutrition is very expensive. The way they put it in this word, dieting is expensive. I know that in this country now, and the situation of everything, the country is not smiling at anybody. The economic situation of the country is not smiling at anybody at all. But have you ever really thought about the amount of money you're going to spend in the hospital if you come down with this sickness, these disease conditions? Is it not better you live a healthy life, happy, enjoying yourself, than for you to come down with these chronic health conditions? I mean, you will spend so much. Oftentimes the physiotherapists advise people, when health practitioners, let me not just say physiotherapists, or let's use physiotherapists for instance, when clients come into the clinic and then you're being advised to register or buy plans for your session, for your treatment, people say, oh, it's outrageously expensive. People say, oh, it's expensive, why am I going to be paying this amount of money? And then they don't heed to this advice that their doctors give them. And then they tend to sort for solution elsewhere. At the end of the day, they tamper with very sensitive nerves in the body, and at the end of the day, you might not even be able to walk. So have you seen that penny wise, pound foolish? A lot of us have fallen victims of all this, especially clients that don't really want to go into proper nutrition because they say it is expensive. No one is asking you to break a bank to eat healthy foods. Now is rainy season, and even God is really amazing and wonderful, because there is no season you will be in this life and you will not find something that is in vogue in that season.
Yeah, true.
I use fruits for instance. Most of the times there is no season that will pass and there will be no fruits in vogue at that particular period in time. Is it vegetable, green vegetable? As a matter of fact, agriculture is even advancing that you don't really have to be in rainy season because you can get certain foods. For instance, in Abuja, you eat corn every time of the year. January, February, March, April, May. It doesn't have season. So that tells you that there are vegetables when one is out of season, another is in season. So you don't necessarily, when people say you should go on dieting, they did not say you should go and buy a pack of grapes. Grapes is expensive. There are other alternatives. You have watermelon, 500 naira, 200 naira. You already have your watermelon. You have pawpaw, you have orange, you have cucumber. Those ones are vegetables. You have carrots, you have garden eggs, you have ugu, you have so many vegetables. So dieting is not so expensive. You have to compare it with the amount of money you will spend in the hospital, because at the long run you spend more while trying to save money. So it's just important that we do the right thing to save ourselves from future stress.
Wow, thank you so much for that. We are receiving both tips and how do I put it? We are receiving health tips, and it's like we are receiving counseling tips as well. It's
free counseling.
On Instagram they'll say na collabo. So actually na collabo. All right, thank you so much for that. So from our discussion so far, I think part of what I've picked is, good nutrition helps us to it's beneficial for energy, for growth. You mentioned one more thing.
Yes, maintenance.
Let me say health. Let me put it in the line.
Yes.
So
health maintenance. So, yes.
For you to remain healthy. And when we talk about physiotherapy, there are certain conditions, or there are certain, say, lifestyle, and there are certain factors that result to some of the conditions that people come down with, like stroke, osteoarthritis. Those were like the two major examples I know we used as case studies.
Yes.
So to avoid coming down with stroke, osteoarthritis that is linked to overweight or diabetes and all of that, it's very important that we keep up with good nutrition. And funnily enough, I was even thinking it would just be stroke and osteoarthritis, but then low back pain, and I know there are other conditions too that are linked to poor nutrition. So we just have to ensure that we keep up with good nutrition. And another important thing is that don't just go online. We all study different things. When you need someone to create content for you, you go to a content creator. When you want to give birth, you go to the hospital, and different other professions. When you want to when you have issues with your bank.
I've seen a lot of clips where people say, I know someone who can do it cheaper.
You see? Sometimes that thing is the beginning of our problem.
Exactly.
Professional, I know sometimes money is an issue, but then looking at how important this is, you may just have to bring out what you need to bring out and get yourself fit together. Health is wealth. Health itself is even
yes, exactly.
So really, I really want to appreciate my guest first of all for doing justice to the topic we've considered.
Thank you.
For giving us, both health tips and counseling tips as well. It's well received, and I believe that our audience will do well to make good use of all we have discussed here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and to my wonderful audience listening, thank you so much for consistently being with us. Thank you for always checking out what we post, what's the content, what's the new episode about, who are we hearing from this time. Okay, let's see the post again. What topic are we considering, and all. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Physio Nextdoor podcast again. My name is Jennifer Chukwu, your host, and my amiable guest is
Miss Eya Nneoma.
Thank you so much. See you next time. Don't forget to click on the notification bell so that you'll be notified on when we drop our next episode. Bye.
Bye.